2023 is upon us, and that means it's time for my annual video in which I count down the movies, TV shows and games that I'm looking forward to the most in the next 12 months. There were so many amazing creations to enjoy in 2022, but somehow 2023 is looking to top it. So for my own sanity, I've honed in on 4 games, 4 films and 2 TV series in order to make a single top 10 list for the year ahead. Now, I get that this is a bit of a long shot since its release window is Northern Winter 2023, giving us only 1 month to work with at the end of the year. And I could very much fill this spot on the list with a surer thing like Jedi Survivor, or Street Fighter 6, or Alan Wake 2. But there's a chance, and the fact that there's even the tiniest chance that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth could grace us with its awesome presence this year is enough for me to include it. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a stunning video game that ends on an extremely fascinating note. Bearing in mind the original FF7 and how it ultimately compares and contrasts to Remake, the setup for Rebirth is practically unparalleled. We are going into a sequel, into a part 2, where established plotlines and newfound variations will diverge and collide in a way that is completely unpredictable. FF7 Rebirth has a lot of expectations following the quality of FF7 Remake. But almost more importantly, it has the groundwork upon which it can subvert and surprise and satisfy in a wholly original way. Auteur Christopher Nolan returns in July, having assembled an incredible cast for his latest film, Oppenheimer. This biopic follows J. Robert Oppenheimer, played by the exceptional Cillian Murphy. It takes place during the Manhattan Project, chronicling the ultimately horrific progress that was made towards the construction of the atom bomb. And of course, because it's Christopher Nolan, the nukes aren't computer generated. The stellar cast also includes Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Rami Malek, Florence Pugh, Matt Damon, and a whole cinema's worth of other esteemed actors. I look forward to seeing them all being their brilliant selves in aid of achieving Nolan's vision for this biopic. In 2018 we got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which, if we're honest, is one of the best superhero movies ever made, chronicling the days in the life of Miles Morales before and after he gets bitten by a radioactive spider, comes face to face with larger-than-life villains, and a host of other Spideys from across the multiverse. Across the Spider-Verse promises to once again tell a beautifully animated, heart-filled story in which we follow Miles, Gwen, and a Spider-Verse full of other Spideys. Into the Spider-Verse is a tough act to follow, but I have little doubt in my mind that Across the Spider-Verse can live up to the hype. If you haven't seen Yellow Jackets Season 1, imagine the TV show Lost combined with the Andes flight disaster. It follows the lives of a high school girls' soccer team crash landing in the middle of nowhere and how they struggle to survive. We also follow, simultaneously, the older selves of those who managed to get out alive and are dealing with the trauma and guilt of what happened. For the most part, Yellow Jackets is a character drama, but sprinkled within each episode are these little moments where things get a bit weird or inexplicable. Season 2 looks to expand on that exact idea, as characters get both more desperate and look to explore the occult presence of the wilderness that seems to not want to let them escape that easily. The Mission Impossible franchise has been described as one that gets better and better with each new movie released. This of course bodes well for Dead Reckoning Part 1, the first installment in the two-part finale to the whirlwind story of Ethan Hunt and friends. The last Mission Impossible movie, Fallout, was my favourite movie of 2018. It featured high-speed dogfighting, a broken bathroom, and a production delay because Tom broke his ankle jumping from one roof to another. One can only imagine what they have in mind for Ethan's final chapters. Peter Parker's Spider-Man and Miles Morales appear for the second time in this video for their grand return to our PlayStation consoles under the excellent creative direction of Insomniac Games. Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales feature the best traversal in the biz, and now we get to see Peter Parker and Miles Morales properly team up for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Having to deal with Venom this time around, and undoubtedly a bunch of other overpowered villains, I look forward to returning to Insomniac's New York to web-sling around and zip-kick bad guys while listening to charmingly goofy quips from both of the leads. Insomniac haven't dropped the ball for a very long time, and I can't envision them messing up this release either. Supergiant Games have never made a sequel before. The genius artists who have blessed us with games like Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre, please play Pyre, returned to the world that brought them the greatest success and acclaim. Back to the Greek gods that were so beloved in their most recent game, Hades. Now following Melinoe, one of the daughters of Hades and Persephone, gameplay appears to take on a more magical edge to it. Hades 2 will follow its predecessor's example of launching into early access, while the magicians at Supergiant somehow turn a 10 out of 10 game into a masterpiece. Sex Education is one of the best shows on TV, and in 2021 it was renewed for a 4th season, so we should be getting it sometime this year. Two of the things that make Sex Education as good a show as it is the writing and the performances. Laurie Nunn, the show's creator, handles serious topics with care, respect, and the appropriate amount of humor. I adore these characters so much because the writing and performances evoke so much empathy and affection. So of course I can't wait for later this year when we get more Otis, Maeve, the Doctor, I mean Eric, and everyone else that breathes life into this beautiful show. I went and watched Captain Marvel on its opening weekend in 2019. All I could think about for the next week was Captain Marvel. The movie made me feel so happy that I just wanted to enjoy it again. So I went back the next weekend to watch it again. Halfway through the movie, load shedding hit, and the power went out in the cinema. So I did what any sensible person would do. I went back the next weekend with my refunded ticket and watched it again. Captain Marvel is my feel-good movie. I've seen it more than any other movie in the past decade. It just makes me happy. And this year, we're getting the sequel. While we're not going to get a movie full of Carol and Fury bouncing off of each other like last time out, we do get Carol, Kamala, and Monica together, which does have the potential to be too goofy, sure, but I trust that director Nia DaCosta will strike a good balance, considering the fact that she has said that the movie also deals with specific, personal, and sometimes sad things. I truly hope that this movie is great because, who knows, maybe I'll get a feel-good sequel to my feel-good movie. Every couple of weeks, I wrestle with the idea of making a video essay detailing why I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League so much. Do I make a single, hour-long video? Do I make it into a series? Do I do nothing and just enjoy the video game? Long story short, Rocksteady Studios have made games that mean a lot to me. Their Arkham games are tentpoles in my time with the gaming medium. This is a studio that hasn't released a new game since Arkham VR in 2016, and hasn't released a feature title since Arkham Knight in 2015. That's 8 years ago. This year, we get a game that I see the devs at Rocksteady get very excited about. A crazy story where 4 lovable villains have to stop the world's greatest heroes. Each member of the squad has their own distinct gameplay, each with a depth of gameplay expression that apparently, somehow, surpasses what the studio did with Batman. And this all takes place within one of Rocksteady's typically highly detailed open worlds. I can't wait to see the fruits of this team's labor when the game finally comes out in May, and when we get to say goodbye to Kevin Conroy as we hang on to every word in his final performance as Batman.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.